The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with those traitors and up with the stars. Shouting the battle cry of freedom. Okay, what a beautiful song. Very important these days, I believe. Now look back on what was the patriotic zealousness that existed in this nation, that defended it from tyranny, from the persecutors of liberty, those that were seeking to destroy the freedoms of mankind throughout the world, those that looked to bend the minds of people all over the world to believe that they were inferior, when in reality, every single living person on this earth has direct roots back to the very beginning of humanity, of life itself. There is not one person that does not have roots going all the way back to the very beginning. And that is a fact that we might all do well to recognize and to honor in our discourses with each other, regardless of the ideological expulsions that may be coming forth from numbers and numbers of people, and the distractions and indoctrination that have distracted the true intellectual capabilities and the innovative competencies of our nation. Why have we allowed ourselves to become mediocre? It's a complex network of reasons, but I believe that there are measures that we could take immediately to mitigate the risks to our society that are paramount for the future of this nation and the world, as we are the champions of freedom as Americans. We demonstrate to the rest of the world what a free peoples can do, what our grandfathers and fathers and great-grandfathers. My family goes back 10 generations to a man that left Kaiserslautern when the Edict of Nantes was reversed by a tyrannical king, and he began persecuting my ancestors. When the Huguenots decided that they would go forth to the New World and fight there for their freedom, to establish themselves and not waste the blood of their kin and themselves on the landscapes of Europe anymore. Although we had to do that again and again anyway, proudly defending freedom. The points about that could be argued as to whether or not those wars were necessary. But reality is they have happened. And today we're witnessing the greatest tyranny that this country has ever faced. A tyranny not born in America, not from the American citizen, not from the communities that make up this great nation, and the states that have stood for so long for the liberties of mankind and their citizens. The bad actors, the nefarious individuals, the corrupt, their day of judgment is coming. Their day of judgment will soon be upon them. When the Department of Justice and the rule of law returns to this nation, we'll be freed from the tyranny that we have been born into, the tyranny that our representatives have perpetuated. And as they cling more tightly to the reins of power that they've established for themselves, or logistical entrenchments to office, the rhetoric that is used to motivate nationalism and pervert our intellectual capabilities, to fighting with each other, to dividing this nation between left and right. When those paradigms become comprehensible, I believe the citizens of this nation will demand excellence from their leaders. They'll demand that the corrupt leaders be prosecuted. They'll demand that their freedoms are reinstated, that the free market is allowed to function, and that we Americans will return to the place that we once held, which is the society that freedom-loving peoples all over the world can emulate, can turn to look for an example of excellence, American exceptionalism, where we innovate and provide improvements to the quality of life based on our production, and we disseminate that. We allow it to reach the peoples of the world so their quality of life can be improved. So all peoples can solve the issue of existence while maintaining their liberties, protecting their families, protecting their ability to think for themselves, protecting their abilities to come up with new ideas, to have a public debate, to have discourse, to respectfully trade ideas, to argue the merits of ideas and ideologies, to look with critical thinking at the consequences of the decisions we're making today and how slippery slopes could lead to tyranny in the future. We now see that. We see the slippery slope that we are on. We have a rope to cling to. We do not have to descend into a communist state of existence. We do not have to become the Soviet states of America, as some leaders are currently pushing for, driving their power ever onward while restricting the power of actual citizens. We do not have to accept that. We have a rope. We have something to cling to pull ourselves back up, called the Constitution. Study it, learn it, live it, love it. When I swore my oath to the Constitution, I did not take it lightly. I took it life or death. That is an undying oath that I swore to uphold, protect, and defend the freedoms of this nation. Through our political process, we can find resolution. We do not have to beg. We do not have to grovel. We don't have to request. We have the rights provided by the Constitution, fought for by all of our ancestors throughout the history of this nation and before. Those rights, if taken lightly, will be usurped, as we've seen, where our tax dollars will go to pay to murder babies. If abortion is a right, let it be a right. Do not force one man to pay for that right if he disagrees. If one man does not wish to support a communist education system, it is that man's choice to not support it, to not provide tax dollars to institutions that spew anti-American sentiments, continuously indoctrinating the minds of our youth, usurping the intellectual capabilities, preaching that everything has been done before, that there's nothing to go forth and figure out and to improve. That is a lie. It is a lie that has been pounded into the heads of our youth. It is a lie that many people fall for and settle into an entrenched half-life, a life not fit for a human being, a life not fit for man. Man deserves freedom of his mind, freedom of action, freedom to cooperate in his community, to improve the lives of everyone involved, to provide for a quality of life for his family, to ensure that generations from now, thousands and thousands and thousands of years into the future, humanity will be here, will be free, will have liberty, will have improved, will have found a way to coexist with nature. That is the legacy of the Constitution. That is the legacy of our revolution, of our Civil War, of the other wars that we have fought. We could argue the points about the nefarious actors who drove this nation to violence over and over, and the previous recent administrations that have utilized the capabilities and resources of this nation to spread tyranny to different parts of the world and here at home. These realizations are critical for our young persons to understand. When somebody tells you that they have everything figured out, you know that they are exactly wrong. So here, all I'm claiming is the Constitution should be the footing that we base our future understandings, comprehension of these documents and what they actually say, what they actually create for protections against tyranny, how the founders intended our free society to function. Those are all the ideals that we can utilize to move forward as a people, not to continue to fight amongst each other, not to continue to divide ourselves into groups where we are weakened as a people, where tyranny is allowed to be proliferated by our leaders who have been proven corrupt, who conduct themselves in such a way as to bring shame to themselves, their families, and this nation. The Department of Justice is currently working diligently to return the rule of law, and they require all of our support. Thank you.